Imagine waking up one day and the person you love the most is gone. Not just missing, completely erased. No one remembers them. No photos, no records, no proof they were ever real. And the worst part? You're starting to forget too. This is the nightmare one person lived through. And this is their story. It started 2 weeks ago. My younger brother, Daniel, stopped answering my calls. At first, I thought he was just busy. He had recently moved to a small suburban neighborhood a few towns over, trying to get a fresh start. I texted him, got no response. I checked social media. His profile hadn't been updated in days. Then our mother called me, worried. She hadn't heard from him either. That's when I knew something was wrong. Daniel always called Mom back, no matter what. So I drove out to his neighborhood. It was the kind of place that looked like it had been copy-pasted from a real estate catalog. Rows of identical houses, neatly trimmed lawns, the occasional white picket fence. The air smelled faintly of rain. Even though the sky was clear, I pulled up in front of his house, or at least where it was supposed to be. The house looked different. It was the same general shape, the same spot on the street, but the front door was red instead of blue. The number above the mailbox was wrong. I told myself maybe I had the wrong address, maybe I misremembered, but I had the lease agreement on my phone. Daniel had moved into 217 Greenway Drive. This house was 215. I knocked anyway. A woman answered, mid-40s, short blonde hair, wearing a sweater despite the warm weather. She frowned at me like I was already wasting her time. "Can I help you?" Sorry," I said. "I think I might have the wrong house. Do you know if Daniel Parker lives next door?" She blinked. Her expression didn't change. "I don't think I know anyone by that name," she said. A weird, uneasy feeling crept up my spine. "He just moved in a few weeks ago," I pressed. "Tall guy, brown hair, always wears a jacket, even when it's hot out." She shook her head. "Sorry, no one like that lives here." Something in her voice was off, not just dismissive, but certain. I thanked her and stepped back, glancing around the street. Another neighbor, an older man watering his lawn, caught my eye. I approached him. "Excuse me, sir, do you know if a Daniel Parker lives around here?" He turned off the hose. His expression was unreadable. "I don't think I know a Daniel Parker." Another neighbor, this time a man walking his dog. Same question, same answer. The feeling in my stomach curdled into something cold and sickly. Everyone was lying to me. I refused to leave. Something was wrong. I knew Daniel had been here. I pulled out my phone and scrolled through my texts. There it was, a message from Daniel, just 2 weeks ago. "Finally moved in. The new place is nice. You should come visit." I knocked on more doors. Every single person gave me the same answer. Daniel was never here. I tried calling his number. The call went straight to voicemail. I left a message, my voice shaking. Then, just to be sure, I called again. The phone rang. I pulled it away from my ear and stared at the screen. The call was coming from my own number. I ended the call immediately. My hands felt numb. This wasn't just people lying to me. Something was happening. I ran back to my car, heart pounding. I needed proof. I needed something real. I opened my phone gallery, scrolling for photos of Daniel in his new home. But all the pictures I had of him were wrong. Every picture I knew should have him in it. Our last family dinner, his birthday, even just stupid selfies we'd sent each other. He was missing, not blurred, not replaced, just gone, like he had never been there at all. I don't remember getting back into my car. My hands were shaking as I gripped the wheel, my foot pressing down on the gas pedal harder than it should have. I needed to leave. I needed to get out of this neighborhood and figure out what the hell was going on. The car rumbled down the street, past the identical houses and their 2 perfect lawns. I turned the corner, expecting to hit the main road. Instead, I was back on Greenway Drive. My breath caught in my throat. I must have made a mistake. Maybe I turned too soon. I tried again, following the road out, taking a different street. I passed more houses, more neatly trimmed lawns. Then, just as I thought I was getting close to the exit, I turned a corner and Greenway Drive. I slammed on the brakes. That wasn't possible. I turned the car around, retracing my path. deliberately taking random turns, left, then right, then left again. It didn't matter. No matter what direction I drove, I kept ending up back where I started. My head pounded. My breathing turned shallow. I was trapped. I pulled over, gripping my phone like it was a lifeline. I needed to call someone, mom, the police, anyone. But as soon as I unlocked my screen, my call log was empty. Every contact was gone. Every text message, every photo. I opened my notes app and typed Daniel's name. The letters erased themselves. One by one. I threw the phone into the passenger seat. My chest tightening with panic. I forced myself to breathe. I needed to think. There had to be a way out. I stepped out of the car. The neighborhood was quiet, too quiet. No barking dogs, no birds, no wind rustling the trees. Just the faint hum of something I couldn't place. Then I heard it. Footsteps. I turned sharply, scanning the street. No one was there. The footsteps kept going. They weren't normal footsteps. They didn't sound like someone walking casually down the sidewalk. They were too slow, too deliberate. And they were coming from behind me. I turned again. Nothing. A cold sweat broke out across my skin. I got back in the car and locked the doors. I don't know how long I sat there. Time felt wrong, like it was stretching and twisting in ways I couldn't quite understand. At some point, I saw movement in my rearview mirror. A figure, standing perfectly still in the middle of the street, too far away to see clearly. But I knew it was looking at me. I blinked, and it was gone. The nausea hit instantly, like my body was rejecting reality itself. I had to find proof. Something. Anything. I left the car and walked down the street, my legs unsteady. If Daniel had lived here, there had to be something left of him. Some trace. Some mistake in whatever was erasing him. Then I saw an old community bulletin board, half rotted from neglect. Most of the flyers were faded and peeling: lost pets, yard sales, an ad for a local handyman. And then, a missing persons poster. My breath caught. I ripped it off the board. It was Daniel. His face, his name. But the paper was blank where the contact information should be. No phone number. No address. Not even a date. The longer I looked at it, the more the ink seemed to fade, dissolving like mist. I shoved it into my jacket pocket before it could disappear completely. A sound drifted through the empty street. Laughter. Not joyful laughter. Not even cruel laughter. Something was mimicking laughter, and it was getting closer. The laughter faded, but the silence it left behind was worse. I pressed the missing person flyer against my chest like it was some kind of shield. My mind screamed at me to run, to get back in the car and keep driving, even if I never found a way out. But then I saw something move at the end of the street. A shadow, not cast by anything, just spilling out onto the pavement like ink. It slid unnaturally, stretching and bending at impossible angles, weaving between the houses like it was searching for something. For me. I turned and bolted. I didn't know where I was going, but every cell in my body screamed to get inside. I reached an old, abandoned house at the end of the cul-de-sac. The windows were boarded up, and the paint peeled like dead skin. It looked wrong, like it had been here long before the rest of the neighborhood. The door was unlocked. I didn't question it. I just rushed inside and slammed it shut behind me. The house smelled like dust and something rotten. I turned on my phone flashlight. The living room was mostly empty, except for a few broken chairs and an old, moth-eaten couch. But the walls were covered in writing, names, dates, messages scrawled in desperate, uneven handwriting. I can't remember my sister's name. If you find this, don't let it take you. She was real. She was real. She was real. And in the corner of the room, a pile of photographs. Shaking, I picked one up. It was a picture of a birthday party, a little girl with a missing tooth, grinning at the camera. But her parents, standing beside her, were nothing but blank spaces. I grabbed another. A couple on their wedding day, except the groom's face had been scratched out. My breath hitched. This wasn't just about Daniel. This had been happening for a long, long time. People were being erased. Not just from records, not just from memory, from reality itself. I was next. A creaking sound came from upstairs. I barely had time to turn before I saw the shadow slide down the staircase, folding and unfolding like a grotesque puppet. The laughter started again, closer this time. I ran. I burst out the front door, sprinting down the street, not caring where I was going. The world felt wrong, like the houses weren't real anymore, just flat images, like a stage set waiting to collapse. And then I saw it. A break in the pattern. At the end of the street, past the endless loop of Greenway Drive, was a dirt road leading into the woods. I didn't hesitate. I ran toward it, feeling the thing behind me moving faster now, eager, stretching itself toward me. The closer I got, the harder it was to breathe. My vision blurred like I was pushing through something thick, something that didn't want me to leave, but I forced myself forward. I stumbled onto the dirt road, and the world snapped back into place. The air felt real again. The ground was solid beneath me. I turned back. The neighborhood was gone. No houses, no streets, just an empty, endless field, like it had never existed at all. I don't remember how long I walked before I found a road. A real road, with cars, with people. The moment I stepped onto the pavement, I collapsed. Someone stopped, an older man in a pickup truck. He rolled down his window, concern in his eyes. "Hey, you okay? You look lost." I opened my mouth, but the words didn't come out at first. My throat was raw, my mind still tangled in the nightmare I had just escaped. Finally, I forced out the question, "Do you know Greenway Drive?" He frowned. "Never heard of it. You from around here?" I shook my head. "It's a neighborhood." There were houses, people. I trailed off, because as I said it out loud, it sounded insane. And the worst part? I couldn't picture it anymore. I knew I had been there. I knew what had happened. But the details, asterisk, asterisk, the faces, the street names, even Daniel's voice, asterisk, asterisk, were slipping away, like smoke through my fingers. The man sighed. "Listen, I can call someone for you. Maybe a hospital?" "No." I straightened, forcing myself to sound normal. "No, I'll figure it out." He gave me a skeptical look, but eventually nodded. "Suit yourself. Be careful out here." And just like that, he drove off. I was alone. Daniel was gone. The neighborhood was gone, and I was the only one who knew it ever existed. I made it back home. I told my mother everything. She looked at me, confused, concern deepening the lines on her face. "Who's Daniel?" she asked. My heart nearly stopped. "Mom," I whispered. "Daniel, your son." She gave me a sad, gentle smile. "I only have you, sweetheart." I stumbled back like she had slapped me. I ran to my childhood photo albums, flipping through pages, searching, but every picture, every memory where Daniel should have been, he wasn't. Our family pictures? Just me and my birthday party when I was 8? Only one cake, not two. The framed photo in the living room, the one I knew was of us three, was now just me and a blank stretch of couch. "No," I whispered. "No, no, no." I checked my phone, desperate. There was a single new message. "Unknown number. It's okay. Soon, you won't remember either." My hands went numb. The phone slipped from my fingers, and then a sound. A soft, familiar laugh, right behind me. What if this happened to you? If someone you love suddenly vanished, would you fight to remember them? Or would you even realize they were gone? Comment below. If you could only save one memory of a loved one, what would it be?